All right, all right, all right. I believe that we are live. Hey, look, as you guys come on in the group, I know that we're going to have a lot of people joining us live today. Make sure that you go ahead and introduce yourself by letting me know what city and state you guys are chiming in from. And hold on one sec. I want to get on here live as well. Let me make sure I turn my volume down on my phone. City and state you guys are chiming in from, or country. I know we have a lot of people who've been joining us internationally. Shout out to all my international No Limit soldiers that have been joining us. But definitely make sure, guys, that you let us know what city and state you're chiming in from. So grateful to have you guys here. This is day 7. Are you kidding me? Day 7 of New Year, New You virtual conference, and you guys are not playing around. This is what I'm talking about. All right, hold on. Let me see. International No Limit Soldiers. Let me mute it so I can see who's here. We've got Buffalo, New York here. We have New York is in the house. Houston, Texas is in the house. Newburgh, New York is in the house. Gainesville, Georgia. Houston, Texas. Landfill, Minnesota. Shreveport, Louisiana. Minnesota. Akron, Ohio. Isabel, it's okay, boo. You ain't missing nothing. You can watch all the replays, darling. So definitely make sure you catch up on the replays. By the way, where are my day 1 A1s? If you've been here since day 1, I want you to put in the field in the comment space day 1. We have Atlanta, Georgia here. Tamika, hey, Tampa, Florida, Monica. Hold on, let me shout y'all names out too, because I love to hear my name too. So I'm gonna say y'all names too. Selma, Charisma, Corliss, Isabel, Lisa, Tisha, Annette, Constance, Tanise, who else? Lisa, I think I said Lisa. Monica out of Tampa, Florida. Aunt out of Phoenix, Arizona. Good morning, darling. And Lisa is here. Melanie, she says day 1 A1. You got to put day 1 A1. Okay, that's the Ebonics that we're using today. I'm your day 1 A1. Been here since day 1. And some of y'all done watch the replay. So even if you're a replay day 1 A1, that's still all good. All right, who else do we have here? We have Sanaa out of Lithonia, Georgia. We have who else? Leah out of Atlanta, Georgia. Make sure you guys shout out what city and state you guys are here. My No Limit Soldiers. No Limit Soldiers. I know some of y'all like, what are y'all talking about with No Limit Soldiers? All I can tell you is this. Scroll down and find day 1. Day 1 of New Year, New You. If you did not get a chance to see the first day, trust me, you'll hear more about what day 1 what No Limit Soldiers is all about. But guys, I'm so grateful, so excited. Hey, do me another favor. Make sure that you invite at least 2 to 5 people that need to hear this information. 2 to 5 people that need to hear this information. You want to make sure that you go ahead and invite them. I'm gonna invite 20 people. So I'm gonna double that up. So you invite 2 to 5 people, and I'm gonna invite 20 people. Okay, 2 to 5 people to join us here live in this broadcast, because we're about to talk about something that all of us need. How many of you guys need to have more money in 2019? How many of you guys would like to be able to learn how to get OPM, other people's money, right? Other people's money. How many of you guys know that you got to get your credit on tag? Now, we don't got to call each other out, and nobody got to look left or look right, but I know many of us, we need to get our credit in place. We need to make sure that we understand the benefits and the values behind having good credit with our personal lives and business credit. And I've brought to you guys the expert amongst experts, okay? So if you are here and you're ready to learn that, make sure that you definitely stay plugged in and invite at least 2 to 5 people here. Hey, Miss China Boo, West Palm Beach, Florida in the house. I tell you, I love West Palm Beach. Did I ever tell y'all about my journeys in West Palm Beach? I love West Palm Beach. That airport just smells like money when you land in West Palm Beach. Anybody ever been to that airport? And it's like a whole lot of rich people live out there. So it was shout out to you, Miss China. You live around a whole lot of rich people. All right. So again, welcome everybody. Welcome again. Congratulations on making it here on day 7 of New Year, New You. And we have a lot of people that are interested and excited about learning how to make more money. Guys, by the way, congratulations to everyone who has won all of the incredible gifts. Don't forget, soon as this broadcast is over, I don't need to hear no complaining. Y'all understand the rules. Soon as this broadcast is over, guys, we're going to be doing another drawing. And so you need to make sure. And Lisa called some of y'all. She's be texting me who won. Alisa. Alisa throwing people, she throwing, calling y'all out. Don't be texting people, telling people what they won. They should have been here live. That is messing up the game, okay? So make sure that you guys follow the rules, because I'm telling you guys, make sure that, you follow the rules, because this is an exciting time. Well, I'm going to go ahead and step out of the way of greatness, guys. I'm extremely excited for our guest that we have here today, because I've definitely been connected to this gentleman for a while. And you guys have actually, if you've ever been plugged into any of our past events where we did the 14-day success cleanse, how many of y'all were here for the 14-day success cleanse? Because that was awesome, right? 14-day success cleanse. We've done other things, and he has, every single time I ask for him to help us out and within our community, guys, he is there. And I know that he has a passion for this within our community. And so he is an author, guys. He's the author of Credit is King. He is also, check this, a TEDx speaker. Y'all, we got a brother, a king on the line that has been on TED Talks. You know what I'm talking about? Now, that's really awesome. And he is traveling all across this nation, internationally, guys, and he's helping people to understand the benefits of credit, understand the benefits of OPM, other people's money. And so y'all are here at the right time, at the right place. Don't forget, invite 2 to 5 people, like literally right now. Go to the little link where it says share or invite. Don't play me, because I told him we were going to have this thing packed out. So without further ado, guys, I want to introduce to y'all, present to many, Mr. Will Roundtree. What's going on? How are you doing today?
Peace, I'm good. How you doing? Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you guys hear him loud and clear? Make sure you type in the space loud and clear, because I know you guys are ready to learn about this money. Well, first of all, Will, before we get into the questions, I have a list of questions for you, and I know we're going to have several questions as well. My first question is, tell us a little bit about who you are and how did you get into helping people build up their credit?
Absolutely. So for those who don't know me, my name is Will Roundtree, owner and founder and owner of We Management Services, co-founder and partner of and president of Credit to Cash, formerly known as Easy Funding, author of the book Credit is King, TEDx speaker, as you mentioned earlier. Man, and I mean, I just love everything that has to do with credit. Been in the industry for about 10 plus years. And it actually started out as a need. In 2005, I moved to Las Vegas, Nevada from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, moved to Vegas and found out that why credit is so important. Couldn't rent an apartment, couldn't buy a car without a cosigner. Here I am, 26 years old, calling back home, asking my parents to cosign for me. And so I knew something had to change. And, and I quickly also found out the definition of insanity at that time. Because I kept doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And so just, wanted to go out and find out more why I kept being denied. So I started to learn that credit was the reason, learned everything I could. This was back during the time when the internet was not as accessible. So, I would go to the library. I would go to, back then they had what were called internet cafes out here in Las Vegas, and really just researched everything about credit. And as I started to find out that as my credit got better, life got a little bit easier. And what I mean by that was being able to, rent my first apartment, being able to, buy something without a down payment, and just learning how much more that credit was starting to become the barometer for everything in our lives. And so once I saw the benefit for myself, what I did was I got extremely excited and really just started, sharing this information with my friends, family, relatives, or at least those who would listen, I would say. And from there, it just kind of morphed and grew. And fast forward, I started a business revolving around credit, not even necessarily from a credit repair standpoint, but I just wanted to educate people about credit, because I knew, at least within my community and the people I grew up around and in my household, it was not something that we were learned or taught about.
And I love that you said that, because you're right. It isn't something that we were taught about. In fact, that actually leads me to my next question, because, I was taught, coming up, that cash is king. If you got the cash to pay for it, don't get it. Or, you know, we come from that generation where we had those grandparents who always had their money, you know, tucked away and saved up under that mattress. But your motto is credit is king. Explain to me, why do you truly believe that today, more than ever, that credit is so vital for our growth and just not just our personal life, but also our business?
Correct. Well, the things I always share with people is that whatever you're trying to accomplish in life, you have different things that can benefit you, which would be tools. And I always share that credit is really just a tool. And so every Friday, I do something called a FICO Friday, which is live on Instagram and it's completely free. And this past Friday, I did a live that talks about 11 reasons why you need credit or why credit is important. And in today's climate, it's even more, you know, relevant why credit is important and why I say credit is king. Because think about it. Nowadays, employers are running your credit. I don't care how much money you have in the bank. If you're trying to get a job where they're running your credit, you have to have, you know, a decent credit profile. You know, auto insurance companies are running our credit. It has nothing to do with cash. You know, everything from trying to purchase a vehicle. Yeah, you can have money and buy the vehicle cash, but you know, or have a larger down payment, but then you're at 29+% interest rates. You know, I've seen scenarios where credit has been able to help one who didn't have life insurance be able to still pay for a funeral. And so it's just so many different things that we haven't, you know, really learned how credit and thinking about credit outside the box that has nothing to do with having cash. And for all my business and owners and entrepreneurs, they're quickly finding out that when you're trying to bootstrap your business or just using all your own cash, you will quickly run out of money very quickly. And so being able to, you know, what I call leverage your credit to be able to have access to more capital. So now you can have a marketing budget, which seems to be one of the top reasons that a lot of companies go out of business. Yes, you may have the cash to start the company, but how do you sustain and stay open for the next 3 months? How do you sustain and stay open during your slow seasons? And without a marketing budget, it's extremely difficult. How do you scale? And so there's so many different things that credit can be used for, again, which is why I say credit is really just a tool. And when we look at it that way, I think we start to get over those kind of misconceptions and myths about credit being bad from what we were taught from our, you know, grandparents and parents and all that. So yeah, credit is truly king when you understand how to leverage it properly.
That's awesome. And, you know, just understanding, guys, that credit is a tool. Credit is a tool. And so, by the way, if you guys are business owners, and we do have some business owners here, do me a favor, type how long have you guys been in business with your current business. Now, there's a difference. I don't mean how long have you been entrepreneurs. I'm talking about with the specific business that you're in. I want to know how long have you been in business, because one thing that he did talk about is being able to sustain your business. And one of the things I've been hearing is that, you know, actually with the gentleman that you connected me to, who we're going to be having him on as well, I was hearing that 99% of most businesses are not surviving past 10 years. And I look, that always boils down to having that available capital. And so, guys, I want to know how long in your specific business. Now, some of y'all saying certain things. I don't know. We want to make sure. How long have you been in your specific business? Because I just want Will just to get a chance to see those things. Now, my next question is, what makes a strong credit profile?
Definitely. So a lot of times when we look at credit, or, you know, what we've been taught about credit, we think it's so much about the score. And so you can have a 750 credit score, but that doesn't mean it's a strong profile. And so the profile is more important than the score, which is one of the things that I always advocate for. So what makes up a strong profile? Essentially a good mixture of credit, or as what I call how to get the perfect credit score, which for those who want more information about that, you can go to my YouTube channel. And I actually have a video about how to get the perfect credit score. But in layman's terms, essentially what they're looking at is they're looking at good payment history, which makes up 35% of your score. They're looking at your credit utilization, what makes up 30%. And for those who may not know what credit utilization is, that's essentially, you know, the utilization that you're borrowing against on just your revolving credit. The revolving credit meaning your credit cards. So if you have a credit card, a department store card, anything with the revolving balance, your utilization is counted against that. And where you want to try to stay within is around 30% or less. So for example, if you have $10,000 of revolving credit, you want to make sure that your balances are at $3,000 or below. Now, if you go over that, that's completely fine, but at least you know what I need to do or what you need to do to get your balances back down to strengthen your profile. And then of course they're looking at, making sure you have a limited amount of derogatories, preferably none, no late payments, keeping your credit inquiries low, meaning anytime you go and run your credit for the purpose to be extended credit, you're going to get what's called a hard inquiry. And you want to try to keep those at a minimum, which is why you want to have good credit, because when you're going out there applying for things, as you get a bunch of credit denials, that has an even more, derogatory impact towards your credit and dings your score even more. And so just having an overall good mixture of credit is what makes up a strong credit profile. And when you're going for approvals, they look at your profile, not necessarily your scores.
And we're also talking about, this is the same for business credit as well, correct?
Absolutely. When you learn that component, it actually gives you an unfair advantage when you're going to try to apply for funding for your business. Because everything that I talk about from a credit profile standpoint are the things that bank underwriters are looking at. So, we're kind of getting privy to some information that even bankers don't even understand how it works. And that's the thing I always try to explain to a lot of clients. Most people in positions of finance know very little about credit. So the more we learn this information, again, we give ourselves an unfair advantage in a marketplace, which is why I say we have to learn and understand credit, because it just opens up so many doors. And I'll say your credit is the lifeline to your business, and it's a lifeline to your livelihood, because it determines so many different things in our everyday lives that we don't even think about.
That's awesome. And look, I want to shout out some of you guys who've been commenting. Isabel says since 2013. Angie Renee says 3 years in business. 6 months full-time Kawano. Tracy 6 years. Brooke 7 years. We have a lot of people who've been in business for a very long time, and that's really exciting because I know many of you guys are here and wanting to learn how to be able to fund your business, and that's one of the things that Will does talk about. Karen 3 years part-time, 12 years full-time. Tracy 5 years. Sanaa 4 years. Virginia 5 years, Selma 1 year, Monica 7 years, Laverne 8 years, Jason 8 years, Janice 5 years, Brittany 3.5 years. That actually leads me to ask a question. The amount of time that you've been in business full time, because I know I'm just kind of shifting gears real quick, but does that have an effect as well on being able to establish business credit? And we haven't gotten into it yet, but we're going to get into it. But does that have an effect on being able to establish business credit as well as getting funding for your business?
Not as much as people think. The way bank guidelines and underwriting practices have changed over the years, it's really just about having access to the information and knowing what banks offer which products. Now, the longer you've been in business, it opens up more funding opportunities for other funding products. But we have to keep in mind the traditional route of what people think is business credit is information from 10 years ago. So we've literally gotten people who've been in business 1 week access to some capital for them to get off the ground and start their business. So it's not as relevant as one may think as far as the time that you've been in business.
Now, wow, I did not know that.
Absolutely.
I was thinking that you had to at least be in business for like 6 months to a year before you could even start applying for credit. Well, let's talk about this, Will. First of all, how does somebody find their personal credit score? And also, is there a way for somebody, if they are starting to build up business credit, for them to find their business score? Or like, how do you do that?
Absolutely. So definitely everyone can go and get their free reports once a year from annualcreditreport.com. I recommend everyone do at least go that route. But I also believe that we should invest in credit monitoring services as well. A couple of different reasons. One, with annualcreditreport.com, it does not give you access to your scores. So you won't really kind of know from a scoring standpoint where you're at by using annualcreditreport.com. Now, when you have access to a credit monitoring service, not only does it give you access to your credit scores, but then it also gives you the ability to see if something changes on your credit. Meaning, if you're only pulling your reports once a year, how would you know that something popped on your credit that could have been derogatory that wasn't even yours because you pulled it in January and you're not pulling it again till the next year. So that's why one of the reasons I definitely recommend we have access to our reports through a monitoring service. Credit Karma is one place where you do get it for free. But I believe, again, we're business owners and we want to invest in, or let me put it this way, you get what you pay for. And as I tell a lot of my clients, because sometimes they don't want to invest the 10, 15, or 30 bucks it may cost them. I say, look, we're paying, 200 bucks for cable. So it's okay to invest 30 bucks a month for credit monitoring. So I do recommend going to like Experian.com or MyFico.com. It will actually give you a breakdown of all three of your credit reports. I'm getting an echo or a feedback. Do you hear that?
Yeah, I hear it, but that's not even, I don't have anything on. I don't even know what that is.
All right, there we go. So yeah, so I do recommend that you do invest and pay for credit monitoring for your credit reports. Now, the thing I like about MyFico.com, one of the things a lot of people don't know, that your FICO score is different when you're trying to apply for a mortgage, an auto loan, and and applying for a credit card. So it actually gives you each three of your FICO scores specifically for what it is you're trying to be approved for. So if you want to get ready to purchase a house, you can go to myfico.com and it'll give you your beacon score for you to purchase a home. If you want to buy a auto loan or get approved for credit cards. So myfico.com is a really good place. And if you want to have access to your business credit reports, you can go to a website called nav.com. And that's N as in Nancy, A as in Apple, V as in Victor. Nav.com will not only give you access to your Experian business reports, but it will also give you your Dun & Bradstreet, for those who are familiar with them. And you also can get your SBSS credit score, which is your FICO scores for your business, especially for those who are trying to apply for a SBA loan. Now, it is not free. They do have a free service, but in order to actually get your business reports, it's going to cost you right around about 30 something bucks a month. And again, as I tell people, when you are a business owner, of course, you're going to have to spend some money to get access to some of these things. But the good thing about being a business owner is you can write these things off on your taxes. So yeah, you can go to nav.com and get access to your business credit reports.
Awesome. Thank you. Now, I've heard before, Will, that you could actually, your business credit is not determined by your personal credit. Is that true? Because I know some people, they'll say, don't even worry about your personal credit. We'll be able to get your credit without even worrying about that. I want to make sure that we're getting fed the right information. Is that true? Or is it, some ways to get around it?
Definitely. I love this question because I as I put it, I expose a lot of people who teach that. And so your personal credit is extremely important when it comes to trying to get funding for your business. Now, you have some pundits and gurus who say, don't worry about your personal credit. We can get you business credit. But the thing I really want to educate everyone on, yes, you can get business credit without your personal social being in position. But the type of credit you're going to get approved for are non-cash, value credit lines. Meaning if you're a, restaurant and you need to be able to have a line of credit to purchase inventory, you cannot go out there and purchase inventory or food with, the type of accounts that you can get approved for without having to use your social. Meaning that in order to be able to get access to bank lines, cash value credit cards for your business, all banks will run your personal social security number. So essentially, you are the co-borrower, you are the co-signer, you are the personal guarantor every time you apply for credit for your business. And that is because banks have changed their underwriting guidelines, their lending practices, and that's because they're trying to protect their interests. And like I tell a lot of my business owners, if someone came to you wanting to borrow $100,000 or even $10,000, and very little about their history of business, they haven't really shown you anything from a credit worthiness standpoint, how would you want to borrow them any money? And so we just have to look at it from a standpoint, they're just protecting their interest, which is their capital. So yes, your personal credit is extremely important when you're trying to borrow money for your company.
Awesome. Thank you for that. We do have another question, Will. It says, what do you do if you have, well, this is a two-part because I do want to know about how late payments affect your score, but a specific question is, what do you do if you have late payments showing on your credit, but the account has been paid off for, she says, since 3 years, or even some that are 6 years old, and it shows late payments. So two-part, if you have a closed account with late payments, what do you do, and how do late payments affect your credit score?
Definitely. So late payments are the Achilles heel to a credit profile. One late payment can drop a score 50 to 100 points easily. And so that's one of the reasons I tell people, especially for credit card payments, because those seem to be the most frequently type of late payments, is to set up all your accounts on auto pay, at least for the minimum. So because we understand life happens, you're on vacation, you're out of town, you're at a wedding, and the last thing you want to do is get a late payment on a $15 credit card and your score drops 100 points. So late payments definitely impact the score tremendously. Now, what do you do when you have a late payment and you paid the account off and it's closed? This is where we look at some strategy. So from a standpoint of depending on what the rest of the profile looks like, this is where I would probably sit down with my client and have them to dispute the account off of the report, especially if that late payment is still drastically impacting the profile. Because if the late payment is 2 years or older, depending on who the late payment is with and what the rest of the credit profile looks like, that late payment may not have as much impact as they think. But if it is still within 24 months, their credit profile is thin, then we may want to look at possibly disputing the account, because now they're still reporting potentially some negative information or inaccurate information. And that's the thing, when we go and dispute derogatory information, or when we show our clients how to, we're not disputing on the fact that the information is not theirs. We're disputing on the fact that we want to make sure that they're reporting the information accurately. And if they're not reporting that information accurately, when disputed accurately and ethically and legally, I should say, they do have to remove that off their credit report.
Awesome. Guys, if this is good, I want everybody to type in the comment space, this is good. You're learning some information, because I know I'm definitely learning some. And for every time I talk to Will, I learn great information. And it's just so important, guys, that we need to understand what is available to us. Look, let me tell you something. We can no longer say we don't know. Okay. We can no longer say we had no idea. Now that we know this information, the next step is we got to put it into action. We've got to do stuff. We got to stop making these excuses for ourselves that people holding us down. They keeping us down, keeping us from the knowledge. No, I'm making sure I'm putting you in front of the people who are giving it to us. This is the stuff that rich and wealthy people know. They know OPM, other people's money, and we can't get nobody's money if our bottom foundation, which is our credit, is not right. So we got to make sure. Let me just tell you who's telling you this is good so far. LaTanya, Coco, Latrivia, Angie, Isabel, Eleanor, Stephanie, Maya, Corliss, Karen, China Boo, Nikisha, Janice. Thank you guys so much. Keep typing it in and let us know, because Will needs to know if y'all getting fed, honey. We need to get
right.
Cool. Absolutely. Okay, so my next question is this, Will. When should someone sit down with a company like yours to dispute transactions versus calling into these people that are saying we owe these balances or whatever it is, and trying to maybe make arrangements or pay off that debt? When should we do that, for those of y'all who have some disputes that you may want to file?
Very good question. So I always say that I would recommend someone dispute the information first. A couple different reasons. We have to keep in mind when the accounts go into derogatory status or collection status or a settlement status, we have to understand these collection agencies are companies. When you're a company, what is your bottom line? To make money. So ultimately what happens is they're going to try to cohort you into paying something above and beyond what you probably technically really owe, i.e., late payments, interest payments, because as a collection agency, all they're doing is purchasing the debt. Their main objective is to make their money back and then some. So when something goes to a collection agency and you make a settlement with them, from a credit standpoint, it does not help you. And also to understand, once the company has sold that debt, essentially they've either written it off on their taxes or they've made their money back. Of course, they've taken the loss, and then a collection agency is trying to make their money back from what they paid for the debt. Now, the one time I do recommend you make an arrangement for payment is if they ever do try to sue you. So if the debt is still within the statute of limitations, which typically is 4 years from the last date of activity, they have the time frame to sue you, then yes, you want to try to make an arrangement. But if it's past the statute of limitations, or two, like I say, I wouldn't just go out there and freely pay it. Then I would always recommend that you put together and devise a plan to dispute that information. Because again, when disputed accurately and ethically, it's not being disputed on the premise that it's not yours. It's being disputed on the premise that they're reporting that information accurately. And if they can't validate or verify that they're reporting the information accurately down to the penny, then by law, per the Fair Credit Reporting Act, they do have to remove it off of the report. Now, on the latter side of that, I have seen people, that just go and pay all their collection accounts with no type of plan, and their score has actually dropped. I actually had a client who came to us because she had got an inheritance, went to pay off all her collection accounts, and her score dropped 150 points, which actually took her out of contention from being able to purchase a home. So as I tell people, what you don't know can hurt you. So even though you may not necessarily need credit repair, you at least want to get a strategy to put yourself in position so that way, ultimately you can, put your score or profile in a better position. So, so I always say, regardless of what route you want to go, you want to speak with an expert. And one of the things that I learned is that we need to start becoming experts at hiring experts. I can change my own car oil, but that doesn't mean I want to go out there and do it because I don't know the proper filter. I don't know, where the oil gets dumped at. So I'll let the professionals handle that. So if I always tell someone, if you're not a credit specialist or expert in that field, it's at least worth the while to get your information or get vital information or get a strategy plan to put you in a better position for what your long-term goal is.
That's good. That's good, y'all. Definitely, no problem, Virginia. I'm gonna ask that question in a second. Definitely, guys, we got to be experts at hiring experts. I love that because I know many of us, we try to be the end all be all. We want to do everything. I'm going to do the time, but we don't have time to do all of that stuff, guys. We got to build the business. And so when you're listening to someone and you know that that you're connected to what they're telling you, then you need to make sure that you do reach out. And we're going to give you guys an opportunity to be able to connect with Will today. So don't worry about that. I know you kind of answered this already, but I want to ask this in another way because a lot of times, like when I'm watching TV and they're saying, don't pull your credit because it's going to affect your score. Whenever you pull your credit, does that affect your score? I do know that whenever, like you were saying, other companies pull your credit, it does affect your score. But I would like to know on both of those situations, how much do those pulls affect you?
Great question. So there's two different types of credit inquiries or credit pulls. You have a soft credit pull and a hard. Anytime you go and have your credit pulled for the purpose to be extended credit, yes, that will impact you. Now, anytime you pull your own credit, you can run your credit 10 times a day. It will not impact you. Now, for those who do go and get their personal credit pulled, the myth of it drops 3 to 5 points every time, that's completely false. There's a certain percentage that it cannot go below no matter how many times your credit is ran. Now, for those who do not know, you can also dispute credit inquiries. Most people did not know that. And so if you do have a ton of inquiries, you can dispute those. We're probably one of the very few companies that can dispute them on all 3 credit bureaus. And the reason that's important to know is because you can have a 780 credit score. And if you have more than 7 inquiries, banks will deny you bank funding. Banks are very inquiry sensitive when it comes to trying to get funding for your company. So again, I go back to the whole terminology of becoming an expert at hiring experts. I meet a lot of people who say, oh, I can do that thing you guys do with trying to get my business some funding. then they go out there and they get very minimal results. Again, because they don't know the intricacy of the bank underwriting guidelines, as well as the threshold for which banks look for when it comes to credit inquiries. So, but yes, you can dispute inquiries, and anytime you pull it yourself, it does not impact or affect you negatively.
Very good. So I got a good one right here. Virjoya, she says, not to play the devil's advocate, but what is your take on Dave Ramsey? And I'm sure you know who that. Everybody should know.
Yeah, absolutely.
She says he teaches no debt and is a multi-millionaire. Asking because I'm battling credit for my business versus being debt free and owing no one. What are your takes on that?
No, I deal with this all the time, and I love the question. So I tell everyone, I've went through Dave Ramsey's course, Financial Peace University. I've read all his books. And the thing I tell people is, for our community, his practices are not practical. I'll be brutally honest. Now, the other thing is, for most business owners, it's not practical. Now, if you're trying to live off the grid and trying to keep a low profile from a, just an economical standpoint, then yes, it does make sense to go the whole no debt route. But then I also do share with people that Dave Ramsey has built an entire, community in a business off of the backs of people who do have credit, because you can't go to his conferences and pay cash. You can't go on his website and pay cash. So you do still have to have some form of credit, whether or debit or credit, to be able to purchase his products and different things. So is it a good template for, getting out of debt? Absolutely. But it's not practical. And understanding that almost every single successful business owner and entrepreneur, whether you're talking about Grant Cardone or, Gary Vee or Tony Robbins, the reason they've been able to scale and grow so quickly is because they understand the power of leveraging their credit. Successful people don't use their own money. It's a proven fact. They understand TBM, the bank's money. They understand OPM, other people's money. And so once we can, understand that, then that becomes second nature. And again, his principles, I do love them. Like I say, I went through his process, but it's not practical for us. We didn't grow, at least I didn't grow up and have a rich Uncle Phil in Beverly Hills, so what was able to help me to grow and scale was understanding and learning leverage, which is what all successful and wealthy entrepreneurs have mastered, the power of leveraging their credit or other people's credit.
Absolutely. And I also Dave Ramsey, his target market is not business owners at all.
At all.
Never hear him talk too much about entrepreneurship and things of that nature. And so this, always, and this is another thing. This is why I'm always talking about choose your champion. And when I say choose your champion, I'm not saying that it doesn't mean that there's not other people that maybe are targeted towards what your situation is that can't help you. But in this particular situation, with this particular community of urban professionals, guys, we've got to understand the availability to us. In fact, this actually leads me to thinking about something, because I don't really understand it, but I'm sure you do. I don't know what I was listening to. I think I might have been listening to, it was a podcast. I just been for January. Well, I've been, the only time listening to music is I'm in the gym, but I was listening to a podcast and I have no idea what I was listening to, but the person was telling me, and I don't remember the exact amount, but you can probably explain this to us. They were telling me that they actually had on the podcast, they were talking to me. They had 30,000. They needed, like, let's say, for example, $30,000 from the bank. Well, they had $30,000 already in the bank. And they used the fact that they had the $30,000 to show that to the bank. And the bank actually gave them $30,000 in a loan. And then they were telling us something that they did about being able to pay it back, but it just increased. I don't understand it all because, of course, it's not, really my profession. But explain, why would somebody, if they did have, because some of us got money, right? Now, with the exception of what's going on with taxes, we don't talk about that. But some of us maybe have money in the bank, but it still makes sense if you can to get funding. So explain, why would someone do that, and how is that, effective?
Definitely. So you can do what's called collateralized lending. And that's essentially what they did. They show they have 30 grand. The bank will be able to back that because they know if they don't pay it back, they can tap into that account. Now, Why would someone who has $30,000 in the bank already want to go and leverage their capital or leverage the bank's capital? A couple different reasons. And this is one of the things we teach with our funding program, that I would always rather use the bank's money versus my own. And even just from my own personal experience of when I first got into entrepreneurship, or one of my many journeys of entrepreneurship, I purchased a tax franchise back in 2013, somewhere around there. Used every single penny I had saved up. The business failed miserably. I lost every single dime I invested into that company. Now, you put up 40, 50, $60,000 of your own capital, the business goes bad. It's hard to recoup from losing 40, 50, 60 grand versus if I go and leverage the bank's money. Well, first of all, let's rewind. Let's say I invest my own money, and then we understand business is not a straight line. You're going to have ups and downs, things come up, marketing budgets, all of that. Once you run out of capital, then what do? And that's what I see what happens to so many small businesses. They run out of money, and now they can't afford to stay open during a slow season. They can't afford to market. They can't afford to bring on, a staff. Versus if you have access to capital, use your cash as a reserve first. That should be your reserve, or just in case of an emergency, break glass. But more importantly, let's say, God forbid, something does happen to the business. And this is one of the things that wealthy people have mastered. At least you still have your personal capital, so you can still sustain your livelihood. You can still pay your bills, your personal bills, your mortgage, your car notes, whatever you got to do. And God forbid something happened with the business and the business credit goes bad. Guess what? Yeah, you may have taken a lump and bruise on your credit, but the beautiful thing about credit is it can always be rebuilt, restored, and repaired. So I'm not worrying about trying to dig out of a hole and not being able to pay my bills, because I still have my liquid capital. My credit may have taken a bump, but guess what? I can still potentially go out there and run my business, because while I was getting my credit in position, I was now working on my wife's credit. So now we can help leverage her credit, excuse me, to be able to still keep the business afloat. And that's the other thing we haven't really mastered much within our community, excuse me, is that getting our credit in position is just one thing, but now let's start creating credit investors. I get my spouse credit in position. I get my business partner credit in position. Excuse me. Battling this cold. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Getting my business partner's credit in position. So yeah, I would rather use the bank's money, because God forbid something happen, at least I can still survive, from a personal standpoint, while the business could potentially still thrive, because I got my wife's credit in position, and we can go to the bank and still leverage that capital. And then let's say things got extremely bad. Well, then that's when you bankrupt the company, which one of the things is that the wealthy have understood. See, in our community, we've been bamboozled to think that bankruptcy is bad. Bankruptcy isn't bad. All bankruptcy is, it's a form of asset protection. See, because we've been taught a poor person's mentality, which poor stands for passing over opportunities repeatedly, we've been misinformed about how wealth is truly built. And some of your most successful and wealthy individuals have filed bankruptcy multiple times, not because they're broke, but because they've protected their assets, because maybe a deal has went bad because they leveraged their credit and got $2 million from a bank. But guess what? They still in business. They still got the same lifestyle and things like that. So all in all, I tell people, most of this credit game is really just about our mindset, because we've been, so desensitized to how true wealth is built. And we think that we got to go out there, work 40 years and save and try to, earn money off our 0.8% that the bank is giving us. And that's not practical. So I mean, I would always rather leverage my credit and get the bank's money. I don't care how much money I have in the bank cash wise. I'm always going to leverage my credit. And that's why a lot of our clients have had so much success, is because they now have truly mastered and understood that concept.
That's dope. That's really awesome. Y'all go ahead and type this in and say, Awesome, because this is some great information that we're being fed right now. And that actually leads me into the next question with the bankruptcy thing, because I know a lot of people, look, honey, we didn't have challenges within and when I say we, I'm talking about me. I've had challenges even within my life where bankruptcy was the option for me in the process of transitioning from Atlanta to Houston and making a decision into business. And I remember just talking to people about the possibilities of bankruptcy. Everybody, like all my people, were like, why would you do it? But then when I went and talked to one of my millionaire friends, they were like, yeah, do it. You got to do it. It's a great thing to do. And then when you do it, you're going to have opportunities that are going to open up for you immediately. So my first thing, I guess it's not really a two-part question, but my question is to you, when somebody does have to have that option of filing bankruptcy, is it true that you can possibly even get that taken off? Or, I've heard of situations where you can get those things removed too.
Absolutely. So a lot of times people assume, again, because we don't have the right information, that if you file bankruptcy, it's the end of the world. And it's really not. Again, it's about having access to the right information and the proper strategies. And before I answer that, that's the thing I always tell people. We don't have a money problem. We have a lack of strategy. And once we have the proper strategies, we can move a little bit differently. And so with that being said, when it comes to bankruptcy, once you come out of discharged or dismissed status, yes, you can go and dispute that and have that removed off your credit report, which will, again, open up the credit pool to you, because now they no longer see that on your credit report. So you don't have to wait the 10 years that people would think.
That's really awesome. So Latrivia wanted to know, well, first, let me ask this other question before I forget. I forgot who asked it, but when you had talked about when somebody has, money and they just go pay off all of their debt that's listed on their credit, why does it actually drop your credit score?
Yeah, so the reason that would happen is, so for example, a credit score, essentially it's an algorithm, or it's based off of an algorithm. And a lot of that algorithm time dictates a lot of what calculates the algorithm to calculate a score. And so if you have, let's say, accounts that are, that have been dormant for a while. So let's say you have an account that's 3, 4, 5 years old. That account now has less of an impact on your credit profile or what makes up the score, especially if you've been rebuilding from that point. So when you go and make a payment or pay those accounts off, understand when you get a collection account, it's not the dollar amount that dictates if it's going to drop your score. It's the algorithm of it being a collection account. So when you go and pay that collection account off, what happens is it, in layman's terms, kind of reactivates that account to now it shows a $0 collection account. So it's going to look like a new collection has hit your report. So when that happens, it then drops your score. So it's not about the dollar amount, it's about the activity of the profile. And when you make a payment, it'll just say a zero paid collection account. That's why your scores could potentially drop drastically just by paying those off without getting the proper information on how to go about doing so.
Now wow, I didn't know that either. And that won't nobody never tell us this stuff, right? They'll say, no, you need to pay that stuff off. No, you need to get with Will Roundtree because he gonna tell you he gonna tell you what to do. Strategy. If it's one thing I think I have taken away right now is strategy is everything. Strategy, guys. And we always talk about this. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And many of us waking up every day, throwing stuff at the wall. And I count throwing stuff at the wall is just moving with no intention. And so the purpose of having him here today is so that we can be intentional with our income, intentional with our foundation, which has everything to do with our credit. I'm going to ask maybe one or two more questions, Will, because he's busy. We're all busy, y'all. And he's going to offer an opportunity for you to connect more with him, get all of those things done, as well as potentially creating a strategy for your business and your personal credit profile. Latrivia wants to know, how do you know when it is a good time to file bankruptcy?
Very good question. So now I'm not an attorney, so let me put that disclaimer out right now. But the only time I normally tell a client to consider bankruptcy is if their wages are being garnished. If your wages aren't being garnished, potentially you have the right to climb out of that. And I even share my own personal story. When I first started to rebuild my credit back in 2008, I had two repossessions. I had a judgment. I mean, you name it, it was on my credit. And I considered filing bankruptcy many, many, many times, but until I learned something about what's called the statute of limitations. Essentially, the statute of limitations means the time frame that a debtor or a creditor has to sue you. If your debts are past the statute of limitations, it's nothing they can do to come after you and collect those debts. So as long as most of your accounts are past the statute, you'd be better off disputing and negotiating the debt as opposed to filing bankruptcy. Because filing bankruptcy without the proper knowledge or strategy, if you did decide to do that, you're potentially in in a BK status from a credit standpoint for up to 10 years versus you devise a plan and strategy from a credit specialist standpoint. You potentially have drastically decrease the time that you can go back out there and become fundable or lendable, especially as an entrepreneur and a business owner. And that's one of the vital information pieces that a lot of us have not learned. I generally do not look at bankruptcy as an option unless your wages are being garnished or potentially about to be garnished.
Gotcha. So very good, very good. Guys, we're about to wrap this up. And so I would like to ask Will if there is just one takeaway that you could get to everybody that is watching, what would that takeaway be?
Yes. The one thing that I always like to share with people is that, if we learn this credit component, I'm telling you, not only does it open up so many doors for us, but like I tell people, you walk differently when you got good credit. Because there's so many different things that you are not afforded to be able to do. And not even just from a business standpoint, but even just from an everyday living, because I tell people your credit score determines the school zone your kids go to school in. So think about that. When we decide or feel that we don't need to fix our credit, think about how selfish we're being to our loved ones, our children, not being able to get our kids student loans if they decide to go to college or whatever the case may be. And also understand this credit thing that I talk about, it's not a new concept. It's something that's been around for eons, but I think we've been so brainwashed to think that credit is negative. That's why we're behind the 8 ball. That's why we're down to 450 years of oppression. That's why we lack the small business funding and the ability to get access to capital, because we've been so battered to think that credit is negative, to think that is bad. But again, if we all understood that credit is really just a tool, probably our most valued tool, it opens up so many doors and gives us so many opportunities to go out there and do all of the things. And then not only that, one thing, I just got to share this one last thing. We have to stop thinking that credit is bad, even from a personal standpoint, because understand there's so many people who are sitting in prison because they can't get bond. I have a friend who had a family friend who went to jail because they couldn't get a bond for $500. Imagine what a $500 credit card could have did for that family. So we have to stop thinking about credit so linear. Credit really is just a lifeline. And when we understand that, and when we understand when we understand the rules, we can play the game differently. So that's what one of the things I always share with people when it comes to credit. We have to stop thinking of it so linear and understand that credit is really just a tool to open up so many different doors for us.
That's really that made us all think, right? I mean, just thinking about just what's going on in the world, and really just our culture is affected tremendously by the lack of not having even the finances to do what we need to do. It's like an insurance, you know what I mean?
Really is.
Absolutely. Will, if somebody wants to work with you, tell me, what does that look like with your company? So I call you and I say, I need help. Like, what is it that you do specific for people, not just business owners, but for all people?
Yeah, definitely. So when someone comes over to us, first thing we want to do is find out what's their end goal. I would say what makes us a little bit different than your typical credit company is one, our focus isn't credit repair. We are a credit education company. I'm actually a credit mastery instructor, tour the country teaching small businesses, individuals, and families about credit. So when someone reaches out to us, we actually devise a plan to first figure out what their end goal is. So whether they're trying to buy a house, get a car, improve their credit just for the sake of, or get access to funding, we're going to schedule a consultation and work with them one-on-one to figure out what they're trying to accomplish. Because like I tell everybody, everybody's goal is like a fingerprint. So what my end goal for my credit may be completely different than what yours is. And so they'll work with one of our specialists to be able to position themselves to do whatever it is they're trying to do. And then depending on what that next tier of goals they're trying to accomplish, we're able to either one, point them in the right direction within our network of resources of individuals we work with, or be able to assist them. So whether they're trying to become a real estate investor, we offer one-on-one coaching. Whether they're trying to open up a small business, we have resources for that. So our main goal is to try to be a one-stop shop, just to make whatever it is their end goal from a credit standpoint and even financial standpoint a little bit smoother. So that way you're not going around searching and trying to guesstimate what that next step is or what they have to do.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And this is what Will is going to do. I asked him, I said, do you have something that you can hook my folk up with? And he said, I have the best hookup. He has the hookup. I want everybody to type this in and say, give me the hookup. Everybody type that in, give me the hookup. I know that so many guys have, you guys have more questions as well. And so the great thing, as Will said, when I say, and I talk about this all the time, people that give so much value, and that we should value those that give the value. That's what he does. He is blessing our community with tremendous amount of information. And I feel that when you are connected to someone like this, we got to make sure we stay connected. Don't let the connection break. A TV cannot turn on if it doesn't stay connected to its power source. And so we have to understand that in order for us to grow, we need to be connected to the right people. I done talked about this before, y'all. Your circle determines your success. And so I'm trying to put you on to somebody who's positioning himself in his community for success. So everybody's saying, give me the hookup, give me the hookup. Hold on, let me see. Latrivia, Latanya, Kawana, Monica, Melanie, Maya, Janice, Travis, Stephanie, Charlisa, Elaine, Annette, Mary, Tiff. Everybody saying, give me the hookup, Will. We need the hookup. So, Will, what is it that you have positioned our group to be able to get for today?
Definitely. So I put together a very special ebook for everyone. Not only does the ebook dive in and help everyone get a much more better understanding about credit, but for all those individuals who are looking to kind of better position themselves going into the new year, new year, new me type of situation, I put together a very special ebook that has about 6 to 8 different sample letters. It's a $500-600 value that we could easily sell in the open market. But for everyone who goes to a very special website we set up for everyone, we're going to give them this ebook completely free. All they have to do is put in their email address, their name, and then if they want to schedule a consultation after that, we'll be more than welcome to do so. But all they have to do is go to MySafeCap. That's MySafeCap, MySafeCap.com. Top right-hand corner of the website, you'll see where it says free ebook. Click on the free ebook link, and then it'll take you right to the page, and then you'll be taken to be able to get access to that free ebook that we are offering everyone who is on this webinar today.
Awesome. Awesome. And Will, what is your Instagram so they can go follow you on the grant? Because he does a lot of live broadcasts there. I know you have your FICO Friday. Are they able to watch FICO Friday from Instagram too? Or is it straight?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
What is your Instagram?
Yeah, so it's actually across the board, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, Mr. Will Roundtree, at Mr. Will Roundtree. And they can even go to YouTube and see some of the previous FICO Fridays. We have various topics, special guests, but yeah, every single Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. I do a free FICO Friday every single Friday. Unless I'm on an airplane, we have not missed one Friday yet over the past, I want to say, probably about 10 months. So yeah, every single Friday.
Awesome. Well, Stephanie said she got her ebook already. She's not playing. Y'all go and get your free ebook. Also, look, don't let January go and you have not scheduled some time to talk to Mr. Roundtree, because he is blessing us. He's giving us the information, y'all, and it's now time that we go take it. As I've been saying, y'all, ain't nobody gonna come save us. He not gonna reach back and say, you ready to get started? You ready to get that funded? You ready to get it right? Y'all have to be the ones to reach out to him. He's given us this information. He's given us this value. Will, thank you so much again for blessing us. We appreciate you always making yourself available to me and to our community. And we're just, again, thank you. We thank you so much. The website, for those of you guys, it is, Angela says she got her ebook. Look, now everybody gonna tell us, hold on, look, everybody getting their ebooks. Let's see, who, Benita, she got hers. Travis says she got hers. Monica, y'all better go get y'all ebooks, honey, get that information. The website, again, for everybody who is watching, is mysafecap.com. CAP, like a cap, mysafecap.com. So go and get it right now. And then once you get it, within the next 24 hours, I'm putting you to a challenge. You need to schedule that opportunity to find out more how he can help you and help your business and your family. Honey, look, now my goal is I got to go get me a husband so I can get his credit right too. That was a good one too, by the way. I just look, all my ladies out there, y'all like, yep, we're gonna give a man get his credit right so we can, just in case.
All right.
I'm joking, but again, thank you so much, Will. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Most definitely. All right, y'all. Look, okay, y'all need to go get it done. Look, the next thing we're about to do right now, as y'all know, is it's time for giveaways. Okay, so we're about to log off and log back in. For those of you who are watching from maybe a different video that we shared, you need to go to the Facebook group right now, okay? So you can just check out and see who's gonna win today. Remember, you must have been registered now. You gotta be registered in order to win. And no, do not be sharing what people have already won. That is not how the game is played. But you do have the opportunity to steal one of the giveaways. By the way, another little side note, New Year, New You lunch. Y'all, we are almost down to the last few seats, okay? New Year, New You lunch.com. That's the link. New Year, New You lunch.com. The seats, I'm telling you, it's about to be sold out, all right? You need to go right now to the website. For those of you who are in Houston, Texas, you are near Texas, we have people that are traveling in from other states. By the way, who's traveling in from other states to come to New Year, New You? Because I know many of you guys are coming in. We have people flying in from Florida, flying in from, where else are y'all coming in? North Carolina. We have people coming in from Georgia. The New Year, New You lunch, guys. And then this is what I did. I said, well, we've got all these people that are coming in out of town. And if you know, like I know, like, I love to go to conferences and I love to travel out of town. I love to go to California, Las Vegas. I like to go to Illinois. I like to all over. Last year I went to so many different conferences all over the US. Some of them were one day, and then some of them, I have it pinned. Y'all should see the ebook. Somebody type in that link again for me again, guys. And where are y'all coming in from? Where are y'all coming in from? Let everybody know where y'all are coming in from for the New Year, New You lunch. But y'all, what I've decided to do is I know that you guys are going to be coming in from other places all over the world, all over the US. And so what I've decided to do is I'm also going to be doing for everyone, doesn't matter if you are local or not, after the luncheon, we're going to have a little quick hour break. And you guys are going to be able to come and spend some time with me at my high rise here in Houston. And we're going to have what we call a VIP breakout session. Honey, we're going to leave here with the game plan. We're going to leave here with ideas. We're going to brainstorm. Not everybody's going to be able to come to that because, everybody ain't willing to do what it takes, right? I'm just being honest, right? But it is going to be 100% free. Okay, 100% free. So basically what you're paying for is lunch, and then you're getting a full day of this information with panelists who have had tremendous amount of success here in the Houston, Texas market. Then you're gonna get fed. You're gonna have some giveaways. Everybody walks away with stuff. We have raffles that we're giving. It's gonna be an amazing luncheon. And then you get to come to this VIP day. I would normally charge $997 for something like this. But because I know that people are making, you know, doing what they need to do to get out here, and they're pushing and making it happen. Some of y'all are going to get on the road. I know some of y'all are going to get on the road and drive here. I want to make sure that your time that you come, guys. Sanaa says she's coming in from Atlanta. Where else are y'all coming in from? Let me know what cities are y'all coming in from. Fort Worth, Texas. Guys, people are getting on the road. And so again, new year, new you lunch. I'm excited as well. I can't wait. Make sure y'all come dressed cute too, honey. We're going to be taking pictures and all types of stuff. So make sure y'all come cute. Fellas are welcome to come. We have a panelist of women and men. We have two different panelists, women and men. So everybody is welcome to come. This is not just an event for women. So guys, get your tickets. New year, new you lunch is going to sell out. I promise you it's going to sell out. So don't wait until the last minute. How you do anything is how you do everything. And I promise you, when you start taking those leaps of faith, faith without works is dead, but faith only comes to those who are willing to do it without having to see it with their physical eye. You must see it with the faith eye, right? So make sure you register for that by going to newyearnewyoulunch.com. Get your ebook by going to mysafecap.com right now. Okay, I'm about to log off and log back in onto my phone into the New Year, New You group so that you guys can actually get a chance to see the next winner. All right, so make sure y'all jump off and jump back in, and I will see y'all then. Deuces.